Power to the Truth. This is Peter S. Lopez, aka Pita de Aslan, transmitting to you from Sacramento, California, Mother Earth, Earth first. Our general strategy and tactics. Strategy involves studying the laws of historical development that govern the situation as a whole. And tactics are the means and methods of achieving that strategy. So many people confuse strategy with tactics. For example, I believe that we can use electoral politics once it is reformed in order to bring about radical change as a tactic, not a strategy. Our overall strategy, the central aim is to raise mass consciousness and the seizure of power, redistribution of the wealth. We live in a society that is cleavaged by its division into two main classes, the haves and the have-nots. No matter how you twist it, no matter how you spin it, we still live in a class society composed of the haves and the have-nots. The haves are minus 1% of the general population. The haves are plus 99% of the general population. And looking at it from a global overview, you might wonder, well, how can so few people control so many billions? It has to do with consciousness. Consciousness is the unified field. So we need to understand that first. The ultimate aim of fascism is to destroy all relevant revolutionary consciousness. They want us to sidetrack us with false flags, to distract us with minor issues, to keep us in fear, to keep us hating each other because we're a foreigner, or we're an immigrant, or we're from somewhere else, or we're the other. Now this feeds into keeping evil in control. Right now, if you look at the world, really look at the world, evil rules the world. Evil rules the world. And the key will be to raise mass consciousness. For us to understand the practical necessity and logical possibility of global revolution. I'm not talking about a local, regional revolution. I'm talking about a global revolution. Now this might sound far-fetched, especially in the era of Trump. We have a psychopath in the White House. Yet it's realistic. We have to look at, it can't just happen like in one local area where fascism can isolate it and then destroy it. We have to look at it, we have to attack it from different spots on the earth. So we need to unite with those who struggle for revolution here in the USA and throughout the world. With the people of Latin America, Africa, Asia, Middle East. Wherever there are poor people who are struggling to be free, who are fighting for land and bread, who comprehend our common survival needs: food, clothing, shelter, medical care, quality education. Consciousness is a unified field. And nowadays, we're blessed because we have the power of the internet. So we should be able to share our ideas, to dialogue about them, to discuss them, and to strive to reach a common consensus about what needs to be done. And we need to not get lost in argument and debate to the point where we forget what we want. We want to be free. We want peace on earth. We want to be happy. To be able to live out our lives in relative peace and security. So, the overall strategy, the central aim, is the seizure of power. Understand that we're not here just to do a few little reforms or to save the bees or another cause. We can have many causes and many desires and interests. But our overall mentality should be revolve around the concept of global revolution. That we can work at from where we are, from here and now, on the local level, but with a vision for the long range, with a comprehension of the global nature of our collective struggle. We're going to have to change. We're going to have to reach out to people, to be open to new ideas, to not get stuck on any ideology like Marxism or socialism or communism, ism, and to have a basic humane philosophy where we have true concern, true care, and true compassion for all people. Where we're not stuck on just our own little corner of the world where we look at the big picture. As we see here and now, we should also keep in mind the big picture. Remember Fukushima, the environmental dangers that we face, and we are truly an endangered species. And we need to use the power of the internet to raise that mass consciousness. Don't get distracted by petty matters when we have to be concerned about the survival of humanity as a whole. So look at the big picture and be serious. You know, there's a time to joke and bullshit around. There's a time to get serious. Now we have the Trump in the White House, you know, who wants to continue with the North Dakota pipelines, who is evil. No two ways about it. Yes, he stopped the evil witch Hillary from becoming president, but now he's president. He fell into that vacuum that was created when the Democratic Party fell apart thanks to the fraud Bernie Sanders and the witch Hillary, and the weaknesses of the so-called left wing. You know, we argue about too much BS. We forget about the people. We forget about serving their needs as best we can. You know, we forget about educating the people. We're still endangered. We may become extinct. It's a very real possibility. There may not be a world for our children to grow in. You're all in this together. So many people, you know, they get so distracted. And they forget that we are in a planet in peril. P-E-R-I-L. We're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. And if you study and you see what's going on, you know that we're in trouble. We have our character defects. Greed, lust, sloth, hatred. We have our many shortcomings. So we need to change ourselves, improve ourselves, and this is an ongoing process where we seek progress, not perfection. So my involvement in 12-step groups have taught me a lot. My sobriety date's June 24th. So it doesn't really matter right now. I'm making this video so you get the overall picture of we want to seize power. We want to overthrow the bankers. We want to take over Wall Street, not just occupy a park on Wall Street. Thus we need to unite together to overcome our differences, there are many, and to be realistic. We are not all one. Anybody who's selling you that lie, be aware of what their agenda is. My basic agenda is the human rights agenda. And though I've studied some New Age stuff, I think that in many ways, you know, New Age is a form of escapism. We're trying to escape from the reality that we're in. You know, with the myth that we're all one. one, why are many killing each other? If we're all one, why are we at constant war? If we're all one, why are so many asleep? If we're all one, why are there so many zombies walking around? Why at any moment one maniac could stand up in the theater or a church and start blowing people away? Be realistic. We're not all one. We strive for the oneness as humanity, knowing that we are really one race of people on earth, a race of human beings. But we can have our preferences, we can have our favorites. I say, I'm a Chicano de Aztlán. I don't walk around waving the flag. I'm not a perverted patriot. Though I am a U.S. citizen, so legally, Trump the chump can't deport me. So I do need to have my birth certificate. So we're in serious times, and said there's a time to laugh and BS, and there's a time to get serious. I say now that we are aware that we are an endangered species on the edge of extinction, now's the time to get serious and keep a balance between the mind, the body, and the soul. You're ultimately spiritual beings, not doings. And we should try to be humane beings. We're not doings, we're beings. And go outside of your little comfort zone. Go talk to the poor, go talk to the oppressed. Go talk to the homeless in the street. Don't ignore them, look away as if they're invisible. The people are the truth. The living conditions of misery, poverty, suffering, that is the truth. So we need to really grow up and evolve as spiritual beings. We live here in the USA. We live in a patriarchy society where male dominated. We're sick people. We're never going to get well if we don't admit our sickness. When that racist thought comes up, to suppress that or to understand it, where that comes from. We were programmed to be racist, to be sexist, to be materialist, to be consumerist. Fascist program that we've endured since fascism took over to me during the last Great Depression. I mean the 2008 so-called recession. I mean the last Great Depression. What is a recession for the middle class is a depression for the lower classes. Now just keep in mind that our overall strategic aim is the seizure of power. Once the basic strategy is understood by the intelligent commander, the tactics applicable to the situation are a product of his imagination alone. His or her imagination alone. Use your imagination, use your creativity. Be a creative thinker. Not always like critical thinking, but creative thinking. Look at the issue from different angles, different perspectives, different opinions. If you know it all, you can't learn shit. So that's it for today. Give me feedback. I rarely get, really. And I'm not afraid of creative criticism. I just have a little tablet here, a Samsung tablet, so if you can donate one for me, I'd appreciate it, and I'd use it for future videos. I'm just a poor native trying to make my way through the woods, going home. Power to the truth. Nada mais.